With that, we will move into agenda item 2, our superintendent's report, and turn time over to Superintendent Dixon.
Thank you, Chair Hymas. Thank you for allowing me to do this first thing in the morning so I can enjoy the rest of board meeting and not be thinking about this during the day. My goal is to get through it, and I just want to thank you all for allowing me this time right at the beginning of your meeting. I thought it might be interesting, while Ryan is queuing this up, to talk about, I guess we can't get it up, but while he's queuing, I thought I would give you just a little background of how I came to the state board. Many of you, or most of you, may not know this. So I was a teacher, started out as an elementary teacher in Jordan District, making a whopping $11,400 a year. And as many teachers do, supplementing that with summer fun, working odd jobs just to pay the rent and have a good time as a teacher and keep going. While I was teaching, I found myself encountering family issues that I was just young and single, and I really didn't know how to support families. So I wanted to get a master's, and I became a school counselor. And while I finished my master's in a couple of years, Jordan District sent their school counselors into the secondary schools and replaced them with school psychologists, and felt that there was a great need to support students with disabilities and do more assessment. So suddenly there were no elementary counseling jobs, and I needed to find another job. And if I wanted to stay in Jordan, they didn't have any openings. So I opened the phone book one day and was just trying to think about, gosh, how do you leave a district? I've been there for 7 years. Where do I go? And this is divine intervention. I opened the phone book, and it popped open to Murray School District. And I thought, I live in Murray. I didn't know this was a school district. And so I called, and I asked for the Director of Human Resources, and told this person what I was interested in. And there was this pregnant pause, just silence. And I thought, oh my gosh, did he hang up on me? And then he said, who told you to call? And I said, God. And he said, can you come in and interview right now? We just had a very long time female counselor quit, and we have just felt so upset not knowing what to do because we're getting ready to start school in a month and we really need somebody in here. So I went in for a visit, and it just felt so right. And I was hired on the spot and started at Murray High as a school counselor. And then from there, they had never had a female administrator. And they asked me to step in and be a vice principal at the high school. So that's how I got into administration. And they were very gracious and supported me while I was getting my certificate. And BYU had a great program. It's still in existence, but at the time I was released on Wednesdays. We had a full summer slate of courses, and then I was released on Wednesdays to go down and finish coursework. From there, I started interviewing a lot of students and working with them, trying to find out where school broke down for them. And it just so happened that it was back at the elementary level. They started to feel disconnected in those upper grades, and I'd been a teacher of those grades. So I wanted to become an elementary principal. That was sort of my next move. And Murray District was such a great little district, nobody wanted to leave. They had I think there were 6 or 7 elementary schools. And so that's how I ended up in Davis District, where schools were growing and they needed more administrators. And they generally didn't invite outsiders to apply, but they opened it up to outsiders, and I was an outsider. And I interviewed in front of a large group of parents and got the job. And I'll just share a little fun fact. It was the era of IBM, so everybody showed up for interviews in blue suits and white shirts, including the women. And I bought a lavender suit. And I remember a man that was on the committee, a parent, said to me, I think you'll be really good as a principal. We haven't had a female before, but I really liked your suit. So just know that sometimes it's okay to be an outlier. So from there, I started doing a lot of work with adult learning theory and supporting principals. And that's how I ended up in Granite District. They were opening a new section of curriculum and a new section on professional learning. And I was very passionate about it. I was a newlywed. had a little 4-year-old stepson and needed to be closer to home, and went to Granite District and really worked on revamping their new teacher program, supporting new teachers, supporting principals, doing a lot with school culture and raising academic levels and expectations. And that was a gig that lasted 10 years, and I loved every minute of it. I grew from a department of 1 of developing a catalog of courses to a robust staff of 20, really supporting in a lot of areas. So while I was there, my friends started retiring, and I had 29 years in, and they said, you should retire and buy a year. And I thought, all right, that sounds okay. I got called to a meeting, and I was in this room full of tech people. And again, the only female and the only non-techie. And I thought, what am I doing in this room? And I don't even remember who invited me or why I was there. But it was to talk about the way forward with technology, which was fairly new. We were past the old Apple IIs, but it was new enough that they were talking about how do we create this connective tissue between UETN and schools. And while I was there, Larry Shumway was in the meeting, and he just kept staring at me. And it was making me very uncomfortable. So I went to him and said, Larry, why are you staring? He was an old friend, and his wife and I were college friends. And he said, you know, there's an opening at the State Office of Education, and I think you should apply. And I said, why would anyone want to work there? That sounds so boring. And he said, well, we really want to revamp licensure and support for teachers, new teachers, thinking about mentoring differently and revamping some standards for teachers and principals. And I thought, all right, I could do that. That sounds interesting. So I applied with Superintendent Patty Harrington and got the job. And the rest is history. So that's how I came. It's a very long way to say, I've just given you 44 years of a career in a nutshell to tell you how I came here to the Board of Education. And all of those experiences really prepared me for the work that we've been able to do together. So with that, I thought it might be interesting, as I was thinking back on my time here, to see how many board members have been in this role since I came in 2007. So Ryan, before you go to that slide, okay, I was going to have you guess, but maybe you can just, without counting, how many do you think are there? You've had the flash. That's on me, Ryan. I didn't warn you. How many do you think were on that list? 45? 60? There were 85 board members that have graced these halls from since 2007. And you can go to that slide now. No more tricks. I highlighted in blue the board members who have been on the board since I was hired. Is it not advancing?
There's a little bit of lag.
Okay. That's a lot of lag. There. Okay. So I want you to just ponder the work that's gone on since 2007 with 85 board members. And I think there are about 45 that have been on the board since I've been in this role for almost 10 years now, 9 years. And there's space. There are more names who will come likely in a couple of years. So I want to take this time just to thank the board members that have leaned in to make a difference for kids and communities. You all do this not because you know you're going to get paid a lot of money. In fact, I'll bet most of you just thought you would come to a couple of meetings during the month and maybe take a couple of calls from constituents. But these are 24/7 callings. And civil service is trickier as the world gets more complex. And so the names that you see here, they come from different corners of the state. And I think of all the perspectives and belief systems incorporated in this group of people. Some of these were not voting members. At one time, we had ancillary non-voting members who represented USHE, represented the minority community, represented tech colleges, and they added value. They had perspectives and shared opinions and provided opportunities to reflect. So we've had many iterations. When I was hired in 2007, a bill was passed in the 2008 session that Jennifer Johnson, vice chair of the board, had proposed to take away the title of the Utah State Office of Education and take that out of code and take it out of everything so that we would be one. There was a feeling that there was a great separation, that there was an office and then there was a board, and we weren't really acting as one. And so it was removed in code, so we removed the verbiage from the building. We revamped everything, and then we worked on culture to be one. So I know it's confusing sometimes when people come new to the board and they're thinking about, well, wait a minute, there's the board and then there's staff. But we worked really hard to be one and work together on behalf of kids. And that was a big undertaking. Another big benchmark was the pandemic. That was hard. It shifted the ground under all of us. And it was seismic for our public education system, and we had to do things differently together as a board and staff. So there have been a lot of big things, and then there have been a lot of small things, but nothing has gone unnoticed. And all of these board members have left their thumbprint on a policy, a practice, a program, and have made a difference. And I want you just to take all that in of the collective difference of 85 board members just over 17, 18 years. I think it's amazing and powerful. And I'm so grateful that you're part of it. So thank you. Thank you for the work that you do every day. So most of it goes unseen. I mean, it's very visible and visceral when you're here, but most of your work is really unseen to the public. So I just want to express gratitude to all of you. Really trying to get through this. I brought them.
Okay, good.
I'm grateful for your work, and I'm grateful for the relationships. I'm grateful for the sacrifice that you're willing to make as servants of this great state. And most of all, because you care about kids, and that's regardless of what you might fuss about or argue about, the bond is kids, and we all show up for that. Okay, now I can't see my notes. All right, Ryan, we can move on. Enough gratitude and love for the board.
I just want to add one. I don't think this is out of, I think it was just accidental. Of course, I look for.
Are you not on there?
Oh, well, I am. Remember Brenton? We missed her.
Oh my
But she
gosh.
is, I know that you love her and respect her. I don't want the public
I
to be like, well,
do.
what did Joanne do, you know? So,
Kelsey, Kelsey, we'll get that added to the slide. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. I have to give a shout out to Kelsey. Kelsey was the sleuth. She went back, in order to find these 85 names, she went back into minutes and read minutes to come up with these names. So that shows you that we need to do a better job on the board's webpage of listing these, and we'll do that. We'll get them by year going back. But Kelsey, thank you so much. I mean, I just think that's so amazing that you found all these names, and I'm pretty sure Member Britton was in there. So I'll just own it. Somehow I probably deleted it on the slide. And I think I know exactly how that happened, actually. It's probably covered up with a text box, so I apologize. Thank you for noticing that, Chair Hymas. She was smiling and didn't say a word. One of the things that I want to highlight, I saw somebody sent me a lovely quote about how you make your mark, and I've never been one to think about legacy. That's never, ever, ever been important to me. What I do think about is making a difference, like all of you. And here are some initiatives that I either championed, cheerleaded, gave a lot of input, led, drug, fought for, things I really am so proud of that we have worked on together. The first is digital teaching and learning, and I won't go through all of these in detail, but with digital teaching and learning, that was the first real experience I had. I was a deputy at the time, and there were people really interested in technology. And Howard Stevenson was one of the leaders, then Senator Howard Stevenson, and there were a few other representatives and senators that came to the table. Rick Gaisford, who's infamous across this country, one of your great employees. We all wear shirts that say, "I'm with Rick," because he's so famous. He was at the table. There were a couple of board members. Dave Crandall, chair of the board, was there. I represented the board. And we all came together to talk about what could we do together in terms of funding and policy, what would make a difference. And we wrangled and wrestled, and there were all these different perspectives at the table. But at the end of the day, we came up with a plan and a framework and funding. And because of that, when the pandemic hit, 70% of our kids were able to go home with a device in their hands and connectivity. That was unheard of in every other state. So that forward thinking and the coalition that was built with policymakers, community members, PTA was at the table. I mean, everybody was at the table. And that was such a great lesson to see how you really can work together when you use something as a third point and it's very mission focused, that you can get it done. So the same thing was done with dual language immersion, the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts. I mean, I want you to look at all of these that may have come from philanthropy, but it took policymakers and everybody working together to get it done. So all of these things have been super important. And I get called on. I've had this great gift of going all over the country to talk about a lot of these things. So I'm happy to talk to you about any of them individually. I won't belabor them, but I'm really proud of the things on this list and many others that set us apart from other states, that people have looked to, that people are modeling after our work, that international visitors have come to see how we're doing things. So these are things that have put Utah on the map, and I feel so blessed to have been a part of these initiatives. Thanks, Ryan. It's an awkward pause when you nod and then you just have to sit. So I do have a mantra that I live by, that I've used the 44 years of my career. Excuse me. I really believe that if we give students the tools and resources they need to do their best work, that they can be successful. And I do believe that that's the work of the board, whether it's through policy or advocating for resources. It's really about giving families and kiddos and teachers what they need to do their best work so that their kids can be successful when they leave our system. I also have a couple of superpowers that I have honed over the years. And the one is easy. You just surround yourself. Are we still in a lag? I am so sorry. Such an awkward pause. Okay, thank you. So first, I surround myself with great people, and I have had the opportunity. I could not count all the employees that have come through these doors, but it's probably over 1,000, I would imagine, equally over 1,000. But we have longevity. We had an audit about our retention rates, and we've got higher rates than most agencies. And people come here because they're really committed to the work. They come and they stay. And those that don't want to stay, we really try to give them skills and gifts and nurture them so that they can shine wherever they go and contribute in other ways. So I think it's so important to surround myself with great people, and I've done it forever. The second is what I talked about with that experience with digital teaching and learning. I really love the challenge of surrounding myself with great people and then getting people to unite from different perspectives to tackle really complex problems. And that's the joy of working for a board. There are challenges working for y'all, I'm not gonna lie, when you're trying to get 15 people to come together, but there's also great joy in watching you wrangle with the mess of policy making. It's kind of an exciting thing to watch because I have faith in you and I believe in you and I know why you're here. So watching you tackle complex problems is something that I not only want to be a part of, but I think I have a skill in uniting people around some tough problems. So those are my superpowers. Now, what has made the difference? I think I've had a pretty successful run here. And what has made all the difference is, besides just working with the best people on the planet, is having an actionable strategic plan to get to the outcomes. And I really hope that you'll continue to do that and work on a strategic plan that you can hold yourselves accountable to. When I first came to this office, we really didn't have anything like that. And there were some nice quotes that we kind of lived by at a mission or a vision, but we never had a strategic plan. So when I became the superintendent, that was really important to me. And Brittany Cummins was a champion. Jenny has leaned into strategic planning. Several of you love strategic plans. Cindy can tell you she's been around long enough to know that that was such a big deal to get that strategic plan in place. And then we put a structure and a system together where we held ourselves accountable, and I reported out to you on those things. And I knew that it took root when I could go out into the field and people could name the 4 goal areas. That's when I knew that the board had adopted a really good strategic plan. So I've already talked about the amazing people. We continue to attract great people. Unfortunately, we don't pay enough to get people to stay sometimes or take the offers, but we do attract great people to the work because they see what's going on here. Another thing that's worked is developing strategic partnerships. Some of the best partnerships that I have personally benefited from are working with people like the Salt Lake Chamber, Sutherland Institute. We tend to think of real traditional partnerships with PTA and just traditional associations, principal associations, etc. But stepping outside of that has been really powerful, and I have learned a lot and gained a lot by associations outside of what we think of as traditional education partnerships. It's also made a huge difference for our staff to be able to get out and build capacity in the system. You have people who really know how to engage in high quality professional learning, and the technical assistance that we've given has made a difference. I've seen the shifts come and go back to those 85 board members. We've had boards who have said, no technical assistance, compliance only. And there have been boards who have said, only technical assistance, lighten up on the compliance. And so getting that balance right of doing both really makes a difference. You have to have both. You have to have both compliance and supporting people. The way I have always viewed myself as a leader is putting my arm around people or the system and a hand in the back. We love you. Let's go together. Let's move forward. And that's where I think technical assistance and compliance fit together. Another thing that we've worked hard on is making sure that audit is our friend. When I first came to the agency, it was a frightening word, a bad word. We suddenly had these internal auditors and didn't know what they were about. And establishing that mindset that audit is our friend, it's a form of feedback for us to grow and improve, has been really important for this agency. And I hope that we'll keep that mindset that audit is our friend. Now I have a punch card from OLAG. I don't know if you know, they actually gave me a punch card and then started a new one. And I said I would actually rather have a SWIG than another audit from OLAG. But nonetheless, it's just something that we've gotten used to leaning into. And I credit Deputy Jones for his skillful leadership on our staff with internal controls and helping us understand. And Debbie Davis is by far the best audit chief anywhere. She's just magnificent. And we've been able to do a lot of great work under their leadership and tutelage. It's also been really important to put systems in place, whether that's internal controls and desk manuals and just a variety of systems so that people are really clear about what's expected and people have anchors to hang on to do their work. And then last, but certainly not least, this is always first in mind, that we need to stay focused on students, student-focused and data-informed. I'm not a fan of the term data-driven. I think we need to be driven about success for students, but it's really important to be data-informed. And I so appreciate the questions that you ask, the way that you all want data and bring data to the table, and don't let that go. I just think that's so critical. So I'll just end with a thought that I had to write down because I didn't know how to capture it all. 17 years is a long time, and yet it flies by just in the blink of an eye. You heard my history of I was 5 years here and 7 years here and 10 years here, but I've been here 17 years. That's a good long career, and I have loved it. So over the past 17 years, the world's swirling around public education. It's gone through many changes. Through every challenge, breakthrough, step backwards and forward, one thing has never wavered. Our commitment to students has remained at the heart of our work. When we lead with purpose and act with love, we change lives. Thank you for this gift. Thank you. I could just end with one last thing. I am so excited for Dr. Molly Hart. She is going to love her job. It's fraught with challenges and gifts and so many things. And thank you for choosing Molly, and thank you for supporting her. Our staff is very excited to work with Molly. They love her, they feel her support, and they're anxious to get to know her and her direction. So thank you for supporting Molly and choosing Molly. She's going to be great, and I'm really excited to turn things over to her. It's very bittersweet, but I'm happy knowing that it will be a smooth transition. So thank you, Dr. Hart, for saying yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Sid, and we'll speak more on that in a second here. On you, for example, spoiler alert, something's coming. So, but before that, let's move to 2.2, the acknowledgement of student artwork. You want to take that?
Yes. Thank you. Well, Liz is coming up. I just want you to take note of the beautiful way that we've now shifted this permanent artwork to the back, the collection. And Liz has been very busy since our last board meeting. We have student artwork all over the building now. And she is making sure it's inventory cataloged. She's getting little nameplates by all the art with QR codes so you can learn more about each piece of art. We're distributing it throughout the building. We're trying to keep it hidden out of offices, but in hallways. And Liz just has such an eye, of course, as an artist, but I want you to notice the artwork on the back wall and how that's been distributed. So it will be rotating. You'll see next year this will come off and come in the main hallway, and the art that was on the back wall is now in the main hallway. So we've got a system in place now that we're keeping better track, and everybody knows what to expect. So thank you, Liz, Jamie, Karen, everybody that was on the team that helped put all that together. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. So hello, everyone. It's a great honor to present the recognition of student artwork to you today. I'm Liz Bunker, your K-12 Fine Arts Specialist, and today we're going to talk about the Sorensen Legacy Awards. So the full name, the Sorensen Legacy Awards for Excellence in Arts Education, is funded by a grant from the Sorensen Legacy Foundation. So USBE, the fine arts team, gets to decide what does a phenomenal, amazing arts educator look like, and then we put out the call. And LEA arts coordinators and principals and peers and students and everyone who works closely with these educators nominates them. We have a very rigorous nomination process, and it's pretty exciting to be a part of and see some of the great work that's happening in arts education around the state. So I would love to present to you our winners this year. Folks who win do get a cash recognition. It's a nice little chunk of change for folks. The Lifetime Achievement Award gets $5,000, so it's definitely a very impactful award. And they also get one of these beautiful handmade fused glass awards. So we had one extra I wanted to come show you because they're very beautiful in person. So we have some slides of the actual award ceremonies. Typically in the past, there's been a banquet, and everyone would come to one big celebration, and the awards would be handed out, and that would be that. This year we decided to go, actually last year and this year, since the pandemic basically, we've started to go out to the schools and present the awards to the educators in their own spaces. This means inside classrooms, in an assembly, whatever the LEA wants to do to recognize that educator, and it has been absolutely magical and so fun. The kids have been involved, the students can actually see their educator be recognized and get that award, and we have a lot of amazing and supportive legislators and senators and board members of the local LEA boards, and some of our own board members have come to recognize these educators. So it's been a very, very exciting process this year. So I'm going to start over here with Courtney Giles from Washington County School District. She was the winner for our elementary dance instruction. And you can see board member Brinton attended that award ceremony, so thank you so much for attending. And Senator Don Ipson also was in attendance. So very special to have some, very VIPs. And of course, our own superintendent, Sid Dixon, was there. So it just adds so much to the educator's experience and really feeling seen and important. So there's one more slide for Courtney Giles because she had a very fun awards ceremony that was a giant assembly that even the principal got up and danced. So I just had to throw that in. So that was our winner for elementary dance instruction in Washington County. Next, we'll go on to Kayla Spurlock. So she is in Franklin Elementary in Provo City School District, and she won for elementary music instruction. So you can see photos from that award there. Next, we'll go to Joshua Miller. He won the secondary music instruction, and he is an instructor at Hunter High in Granite School District. And, went a little out of order. We'll go to Lisa Noyes. So she was the winner in Granite School District as well, and she was elementary drama instruction. And Representative Matt McPherson was at her award ceremony, so that was very fun and special as well. So go to the next. Rachel Henderson, who represented Jordan School District, was our elementary visual art instruction winner. So Superintendent Dixon was able to join us for that award, so that was very special. Go to the next. Okay, a little out of order, sorry about that. Joshua Miller, this award was very special because it was student nominated. The student you see in the photo, as both were getting very, very choked up as we basically bombarded their band class during third period, was the student who nominated him. So I just wanted to point out that the student nominees are extra special for us because the fact that a student took the time to nominate their teacher, and there were a lot of tears at this one. It was not a dry eye in the house. It was a very, very special award. So Joshua Miller, Hunter High School, Granite School District, and he was a secondary music instruction winner. So go to the next. Marjorie Anderson in Alpine School District was our secondary visual arts instruction winner. We just hopped into her advanced ceramics class really quick. Got to see what students were working on. Go ahead and go to the next. Laura Brockbank in Nebo School District. She was our elementary arts integration, and she's an instructor that she works with a lot of different schools in Nebo and travels around doing music and dance, but also a lot of arts integration strategies. So that was wonderful. Dr. Laura Reyna from Edith Bowen Laboratory School. She won the Exemplary Arts Education Administration. She's a particularly involved administrator because she is also directing school plays. So running the show and directing musicals and doing all sorts of really fabulous theater-specific projects with her students. And last but not least, our Lifetime Achievement in Arts Education went to Leslie Timmons, Professor Emeritus at Utah State University, the Dean, or the King College of the Arts. And I think there's one more photo for her, maybe. We actually got to go to the Cash Children's Choir performance and go on stage and give her this award with Superintendent Dixon awarding her this Lifetime Achievement Award. So it was very meaningful and magical. So those are our Sorensen Legacy Award winners. And yeah, we'll be doing this again next year. And a big thank you to Superintendent Dixon for coming to the ones that she could and being there. It just means so much to our educators.
For some of you who've been on the board a bit, you might recall we used to have a banquet and we would honor all of them. And in reviewing, it was a lot of money and it was lovely, but being able to the shift is awesome. Liz, I love that we've made this shift because being able to provide these awards at their school site is magical. Member Britton and I got to see that firsthand, and the kids are so excited to see their teachers get these awards. So I think it's a magnificent shift. The last banquet, if I'm remembering correctly, Member Booth and his family provided the entertainment. And I am so grateful, Member Booth, we ended it with your legacy and your family's legacy. I'll never forget your little grandkids singing with you and just looking at you beaming with such pride. It was just such a lovely occasion. So great fitting to the end of that era. But I love that we're now doing this, being out in the schools. So thank you for all of the organization. It's a huge undertaking. Before you entertain board comments or questions, can you talk a little bit about the Glass Award that they get? Because there's some significance to that as well.
Absolutely. So this is from artist. She's based in southern Utah. Her name is Carrie Trenholm, and she is a pretty well-known glass artist. And so I believe, I don't have like the full history of the awards, but I know that we have sourced awards from her for the past several years, and each one is absolutely individualized. Their pieces of glass are arranged and go into a kiln where they fuse. So it's a pretty cool process. And you might have more historical knowledge than I do. Yes. Yes. Yeah, and she now just is a practicing artist, which is pretty amazing that we can purchase her pieces for awards.
Thank you. We've got great talent throughout the state. It's wonderful to see. Let's hear from Member Brenton.
Well, I just want to say thank you for including me when it was in Washington County. It was such an honor to be there and to see the children just light up with delight. And that teacher was just magical. And I love the principal too. I've known him a little bit, and just seeing him dance with the kids and everybody's engagement. She just had that whole school with her and behind her. And thank you for what you do. I just heard a quote the other day about, if you really want your kids to be smart, don't put them in coding, put them in music. And I thought, that is what we need to hold on to. It's such a powerful thing for the brain and all the connections. And so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Brenton, and thank you, Liz, for your work. Oh, we have another one? Oh, sorry, back to Kelsey, sorry.
Chair, if I may,
Yeah, please.
before Liz runs away, I would love if she could give us a little heads up, insight, preview into what is coming on our walls for August.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. August will be our staff and board member art show. So I will send out a little survey if you'd like to submit a piece to be exhibited. We would love to have board members submit their artwork. I know we have some talented artists, photographers, painters on the team. So I would, look for that email, and that is a really fun, August is very fun for that show, so.
All right. Thank you. Board members, get to work. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, where did Sybil go? Oh. Well, so we want to do a superintendent recognition. And the board, and when I say the board, I mean Sybil, did the work, and board members assisted her. Then other board members said, yeah, that's a great idea. So, and I'm one of those who said, yeah, that's a great idea. So, okay, great. So we do, though, however, we want to just express our gratitude as well. I know you've expressed yours, Superintendent Dixon, and we want to express ours as well for these past years working with you, some of us longer than others, some of us a few months, a few years, and close to a decade. Carol, how long have you been working with? Yeah.
Since 2007.
Since 2007, almost 20 years, yeah.
Since she came here, and it was a beautiful surprise. I mean, I knew that she was Larry's friend, had worked with Superintendent,
That's
I
all right.
worked with Superintendent Shumway. I knew that she was Superintendent's friend, and that's always an iffy proposition with Larry. I hope he's listening. But we were all amazingly impressed, and it just has been a gift to USBE since she came.
Yeah, thank you. And we want to open it up for board members to make any comments that they'd like to. Not at this time. We'll do that in a second. But at this time, we'd like to present you, Sid, with a couple of items here. And Sybil's got that. And let's see here. So this, you know this piece of art better than I do. What is this? Speak to this. I know that Sybil said this spoke to Superintendent Dixon.
Thank you so much. So it's significant to me in two ways. One, it's important for me to hear the stories behind the art that you select as board members. And I so remember this young woman. This was, I think this was in 2022, maybe. And she had been painting it the last year coming out of COVID, or out of the pandemic. And she talked about the re-entering of kids starting to mingle and coming back to school, and how oddly people were interacting. And she pointed out faces of friends and family members, and you see the look on their face. It's one of wondering and unknowing and some sadness and some joy. It's kind of all mixed in there. And she talked about just rising out and being set free of what she felt during the pandemic. And I love that this captures all of that, a moment in time that none of us will forget, but how important it was to just acknowledge all of the things. And I love the colors and the just sort of the fading into the background. But her story was so compelling to me that I've always loved this piece. Thank you.
It's a great piece, and it's titled Migration. And if you, I remember when we talked about this here in board meeting, and I was impressed then. I'm still impressed, and we're grateful for you, Sid, and we're happy to extend this to you to take with you on your next journey here. We also have a plant, and I should know names of plants, but it's an orchid. Thank you.
If you've never been to Orchid Dynasty, I recommend visiting that store. It's beautiful. Thank you, Sybil. Thank you, everybody.
So let me just read a couple things here. And I was going to put some Hymasisms in there, but I'm just going to read it. I've done enough today. And then we're going to turn some time over to Member Earl to share some things as well. And openly, I had help with this. Thank you, Kelsey. From a 2-room schoolhouse to overseeing the education of over 660,000 students, Sydney Dixon has had many roles in her life: student, teacher, counselor, administrator, and superintendent. And I'm sure many, many outside of the education walls as well that have shaped you as an educator, as does it all of us, right? Life tends to shape us. For the past 4.5 years, I have had the opportunity and pleasure of also calling her my colleague and friend. So thank you. The knowledge and professionalism Sid has shown throughout her time as state superintendent has left a lasting impression on me and the students of Utah. I want to thank her today, not only for her time as state superintendent and her commitment to public education, but also for a life spent in service to the students and educators of Utah. May we all continue to learn from her example in the years to come. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate that. So. Member Earl.
So, how do you wrap something up that's been going on for a lot of years and a person that's had so much impact? I'll tell you this, when I was gathering information and just asking people, what do you want a new superintendent? What do you want a new superintendent? The most common phrase that came back was, we want someone just like Superintendent Dixon. And even the students, the advisory students, I had the opportunity to ask them, they said the same thing. I'm like, well, how do you know her so well? Right? I'm just thinking, how could you know her so well? But it's that, Sid, you engage with others. You're courteous. You read the room. You when things are off, you take a second to acknowledge that. These are things that are going to be missed. So over the last month, I've just been thinking, how do you give a recognition or a full acknowledgement, words of wisdom, right, as you move on to your next choices and the things you're doing. I want you to know you're going to be missed. People, like I said, you can read a room. You have this great, impactful way of helping people be their best. You've done that with me, and I appreciate that. Now, with that being said, I have spent a little time doing a little research on your life, Sid. There are 2 things. I have a little thing down here to give you, but I understood that in your high school year, you had purchased some corduroy pants. And you were not allowed to wear those to school because they were not allowed, when there were too much like jeans, and that was the rule. So you went and you researched it, and you went and found who were the board members, and you actually went and advocated, and you got the policy changed, which set you on a path, right? That's not the only thing that set you on a path. You had an incredible grandmother. I know a little bit about your grandmother now, from doing a little bit of research about your life. She would be proud. Your exit, and not that it's exiting education, but I want you to listen to this clip. This is her exit, so to speak, as she transitioned. And in her own words, she gives some words of wisdom. I feel like it's a perfect closure as you open up to new things. So go ahead.
Like to write, paint, visit my children more, maybe direct drama again, as we will soon have a new recreation hall and stage finished. Regardless of what I do, I want to wear out, not rust out, when my time comes to bow out of the classroom. I hope I'll never be too busy to spend some quiet hours recalling the happy hours, the time of elation, of disappointment, of pain ending in fulfillment, of sorrow shared, of toil and accomplishment, of ecstasy, of serenity, of satisfaction in work well done, of faith justified, of love felt and received, of enjoyment in singing, playing the piano, dancing, teaching, and directing. The world is so full of a number of things. I'm sure we should all be as happy as kings. My world has been full of a number of things. That's a favorite quote.
I just, when I heard that, and you can ask me later how I actually got that. That's a little interesting story, but I just want you to know you're loved. You have set, you're fulfilling what others have saw in you as a young child, and they themselves have been exemplary for you. So thank you for all the service you've rendered here. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Earl. If there are any thoughts that want to be shared, happy to entertain those at this time. Sid, what did your grandmother teach? Can we start there?
Yeah, she was my first and third grade teacher. She didn't teach second grade because she had to actually go back and spend a year in school getting a teaching certificate. The state changed the rules. So she died at 103, and she had a living posterity of, I think we counted over 400 people. She had 11 kids, and hundreds of grandkids and great grandkids and great great grandkids. And so the many kids that walked through Antimony Elementary under her tutelage, including all three of her boys, became educators. And Antimony produced a lot of public educators. So I have a lot of cousins and just people throughout the state that went to Antimony Elementary that she inspired. So she left a legacy. That was Jenny. That's just unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Let's go to Member Lear.
Thank you. I had a moment to express my appreciation for Dr. Dixon, and as you probably have gathered, I don't like a lot of people. I'll be really honest. but Sid has been a real constant positive presence in my work life and my personal life. I also have been blessed to get to know Sid because her niece and her darling family and her sister-in-law and her husband I've gone to church with for the last, maybe 3 to 5 years. And it's been so fun to exchange stories with them and rave about Sid. So I I said that piece, but what I want to do is, and this is going to seem maybe a little odd, but I've been thinking about this rather Edgar A. Guest type poem for the last like 2 weeks, and it goes to both Dr. Dixon and Dr. Hart, and then to all of us as we consider leadership changes today. And it really, one of the reasons I like it is it so exemplifies Dr. Dixon's very non-egotistical view of herself. She is very much a woman of the people, and she doesn't have an ego of my way is right, my way is best, I write things the best. And I think that is one of the things that's most lovely about her. I'm just going to read this quickly. It's called The Indispensable Man by Saxon White Kessinger. Sometime when you're feeling important, sometime when your ego's in bloom, sometime when you take it for granted you're the best qualified in the room, sometime when you feel that your going would leave an unfillable hole, just follow these simple instructions and see how they humble your soul. Take a bucket and fill it with water. Put your hand in it up to the wrist. Pull it out, and the hole that's remaining is a measure of how you'll be missed. You can splash all you want when you enter. You may stir up the water galore, but stop, and you'll find in no time it looks quite the same as before. The moral of this quaint example is to do the best that you can. Be proud of yourself, but remember, there's no indispensable man. And I think that really speaks to Sid's lack of ego, her can-do attitude, and her hope for all of us. And thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you, Member Lear. Member Booth.
I have been on school boards for going on 22 years. And as I have experienced great superintendents and board members and others in public service, I don't know that I have ever met one to exceed Sid's skill and capacity to love. I have felt appreciated and heard in her presence throughout the time that we have worked together. And I have been so thrilled that her primary focus has always been our kiddos, as she frequently refers to them. And I'm so grateful that I had the privilege of getting to know her better as I observed the work that she was doing with so many. She was just present everywhere, always. And it didn't matter where it was, we have felt her love and her deep commitment to children. And we share that commitment, and we're going to continue, and as I know she will continue. She's not done yet. This is just a change of lane, and she'll be going like her grandmother to 100 plus and making a difference with children. And I just want to say thank you for the wonderful years that we've been able to share the journey, and we'll be excited to watch all of the love that you will share with principals and future leaders of learning in our schools with the work that you're going to be doing in the near future. Thank you, Sid. We love you.
Thank you. We're going to go to Member Davis, and I want to just remind board members of the gathering tomorrow that you can also express gratitude there as well. But Member Davis.
All right, I'll be quick then. I remember when I very first got on this board, we went to a meeting. We were at a meeting at the Sutherland Institute, and I was standing behind Superintendent Dixon, and there was someone there who I thought had done something that wasn't great for kids or schools the year before in the legislature, actually. And I watched her, and she walked up, and she put her arm right around this person, and they sat down and talked like they had been friends for 20 years and probably have been. And I was thinking, do you know what he did? Do you know? And then as I watched and I thought, I determined that day to be different. And I determined that day to be more like you, Superintendent Dixon, and to put people first and personal relationships first, and never let a policy decision come in between me leaning in more and listening more and reaching out to people who believe like me or differently than me. And I'm trying to learn from everybody and become connected in that way. And I appreciate that so much. And then I will say, on a personal note, a year and a half or so ago, my brother died in a really tragic way. And we were gathered at the church, and I looked up, and there was Superintendent Dixon standing there for me in a time of need. And so, Superintendent Dixon, I'm grateful for your laser-like focus on students. I'm grateful for your keen attention to policy, and I am most grateful for your very detailed compassion and attention to people. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Davis. Before we move on to our next agenda item, Superintendent, is there anything else you'd like to say here?
Oh, goodness, there's just nothing to say other than I so appreciate you all, and I am leaving with nothing but gratitude and love and joy and growth from this opportunity that I've had to serve the children of Utah. And thank you for giving me that opportunity, for all those who have come before you, all the 85 of you that have leaned in to help kids. So just thank you so much for your kindness and your kind words and your gifts. I will cherish it always. I won't be far. I'm headed to the University of Utah to support their College of Education with a new dean and a lot of initiatives, and also supporting President Randall in some things that are aligned with the board's efforts as well. So I'm excited about a new challenge. And I'm pretty sure, Member Rill, that there is more bureaucracy in higher ed than there is in K-12. So hopefully I can take some lessons there. But I love you all and so appreciate you and your kindness. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid. I'm sure whenever we see you, we'll still think Superintendent Dixon. That'll never go away. So thank you. Okay.